Hi everyone, and this week I want to briefly look at prayer for the theme for this week's vlog. And as you can see behind me, I'm in my back garden and it's absolutely glorious here in North London, and I can hear the birds singing to me as I share a brief message with you. And when we pray, we're praying to God, and it's a communication to God and saying to God, thank you for all that you have done, and you are a creator God. And we do that on a Sunday in a variety of ways, either prayers of adoration, thanksgiving or confession, when we say sorry for the things that we've done, and also prayers of intercession when we think about the world, our community and our friends and family. And after the opening prayers, or after the prayers of intercession, we'll always say the Lord's Prayer, and I'm sure that we'll be able to say it off by heart. Even so, I've got to have it written down with the fear that I will forget the Lord's Prayer, and when I stop, the congregation will stop as well. But when we say the Lord's Prayer every Sunday, we know the words, but therefore are we treating it rather like a ritual rather than a prayer of action and how to live our everyday Christian life? The Lord's Prayer came about when Jesus was praying, and a disciple looked at Jesus and thought, wow, I really want what you've got. The disciples could see how Jesus prayed, and so a follower of Jesus goes up to him and says, Lord, teach us to pray. And in response, Jesus provides a pattern of words that can be used every day, and that is called the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is evangelistic. It can be used and to say that for the material things and for the everyday life that we've got, whether it's bread or temptation or for forgiveness, it's all in the Lord's Prayer. I don't know about you, but sometimes I find it really hard to pray. Either I'm too busy and I find myself I'm praying on the tube, or I can sometimes lose focus, like I could be praying today and I'm thinking already about Tottenham and Liverpool this evening. But then I've just been reading a book recently by Pete Greig, and it's called How to Pray, and it's a really helpful book by Pete Greig beyond 24/7 prayer, and I really suggest that you purchase this book, because Pete Greig helps us to be able to pray in a variety of ways and encourages us on how to do it, for there is no right or wrong way to do it. And then Pete Greig suggests some tools that can be used when we're praying, and those tools are words of pause, rejoice, ask and yield, which means to share. So pause, rejoice, ask and yield, and those words spell out the word prayer. And Pete Greig looks at those words of each chapter, and it's a book I really suggest that you read, and it can help us on our prayer journey. And on Thursday was Ascension, and the church around the world, are looking at Thy Kingdom Come. And Thy Kingdom Come is a vision, a God-given vision, which was given to Archbishop of Canterbury and Archbishop of York, encouraging Christians like me and you to pray from Ascension to Pentecost for 11 days, and to pray for 5 people to know Jesus. And friends, I just want you to know, if you're listening to this, I am praying for those people on my list who I would love to know the love of Jesus Christ. And Christians have taken on this global day of prayer and praying in a variety of ways. I have to be honest, I think that Thy Kingdom Come is the one resource that churches do well ecumenically, and it's turned out to be a global 11 days, a movement of prayer where we look at the words of Thy Kingdom Come, the Lord's Prayer, and churches are having prayer meetings, missional events, prayer spaces in schools. People are really stepping up and to actually open up their church buildings to the community to pray for those 11 days. At Holly Park and Middle Lane, we are having some prayer meetings with interactive prayer stations. And Holly Park this Tuesday at 10 a.m. or 7:30 p.m. or on Wednesday, Middle Lane, 1 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. And we're going to be gathering together to be able to pray for our community, our world, and those 5 people. Everyone will be given a bracelet to be able to tie a knot, 5 knots to remember those people. At Middle Lane, we are going to be giving out some prayer cards for the community and posting them through letterboxes to say we're praying for you, and if there's anything that you want prayer for, then please send it in to church so that we can pray for you. Because friends, the Lord's Prayer is for everybody, and it cannot be just kept in our church buildings. For when we are saying thy kingdom come, we're saying that thy kingdom come, all to come, all that is either good or bad, that we want the kingdom to come, God's kingdom. And friends, may I encourage you to pray for those 11 days. There's many resources which I'll share on this vlog on how we can get involved with thy kingdom come. In London, a week tomorrow on Pentecost, on the 9th of June, when we remember the day when the early church gathered in an upper room, that's when thy kingdom come finishes. And in London, we'll be meeting at Trafalgar Square, not a church building, the church going out into the community, and we'll be worshipping on Trafalgar Square as we will hear from Justin Welby, and Matt Redman will be leading worship for us. Prayer matters, because when a church prays, it's healthy. A doing church is a church that not just serves coffee. A doing church is a church that wants to pray and wants to do Bible study. When we are doing those, incredible things can happen. It's not just about the jollof rice or the quiche, but a doing church is a church that prays and shares in together in Bible study. For those early followers, the early church, they saw Jesus ascended into heaven, and they didn't go out to proclaim. They met together and they prayed for those days from actual ascension to Pentecost. And incredible things happened. A movement happened because people were willing to pray. When we pray, imagine what happens when we all together around the world say, thy kingdom come. So may God's will be done forever and ever. Amen.